Hey guys, thanks so much for coming back to Naturally Paige. So first off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for my last video. I got so much encouragement and just like kind words and people saying, keep going, and I really and truly appreciate all of the support. I appreciate the encouragement. It's really the messages like that that kind of keep you going and remind you why you're doing this. I mean, sometimes it's easy to get bogged down by what you're doing, but honestly, like, the encouragement means so much, guys. I just want to say thank you. And if you're not already a part of the Naturally Paige family, I'm just going to invite you to click that subscribe button right now, and then remember to turn on your notifications so that you know every single time that I post, and you can just come on and watch the videos. Now, let me just apologize in advance if you can hear my fan. Yo, it's summer and the light bill, so that AC can't be turned on. But sitting down in front of these lights, filming, it's hot, and like, I'm so sorry, the fan has to be on. So I'm like, please God, let the audio be decent. But if you just hear a whirring, it's my fan. So in my last video, I would have been talking about premarital counseling before getting engaged, and that also led to me sharing my testimony on Transform Life Church's Instagram page. That's He Transforms Me. So if you haven't already seen that, you can go ahead to their IG page and check it out. But I basically give a very brief synopsis of my testimony in terms of how I claimed back purity in Christ. Once Marcus and I really started pursuing God in our relationship, he became very protective of us. And what I mean by that is that he was just kind of like, he had asked if I'd be willing to not kiss during courtship, and that was what we had decided on. And so here we are now pursuing love after having crossed many boundaries. We are here now pursuing God in our relationship, and it's kind of just like, what do we do? So it's like, do I hold his hand? Oh, no. And he's just like, he sees it as more than a girlfriend. So I was like, okay, so I'm not your girlfriend, what am I? And we're in a relationship, we're in a courtship. So that's what we tell people. We're like, oh, I'm in a courtship. And it's just kind of like, so I wouldn't say I'm his girlfriend, which now looking back is just kind of like, that was really dumb. Like, I was his girlfriend. It's really not that big a deal. It's not that. But anyways, his thing was just like, he really and truly wanted to do things differently. And so that was an interestingly awkward road to travel. And it's very easy in courtship when you have certain boundaries in place. It's very easy that you're protecting it so much that it's like, you forget that y'all together. Does that make sense? And the truth is that a lot of Christians, especially those who have lost their virginity or who have done things before, like, it's very hard to figure out how to not do it again, because a lot of the stuff that you'll be used to doing is kind of just like, do I do this? Is this okay? Is this allowed? And you're just kind of like, I don't even know what to do. And so that brings me to my first point, is the fact that every single couple is different. Every single couple is going to have a different look of what affection and romance looks like in that courtship period. And though you can take examples or you can take tips from other persons, it's really and truly up to you guys to figure out what works for you. What boundaries could work for us is not necessarily going to work for you guys. And that's like, you can't look at other persons and use them as your guiding point, if you get what I'm saying. I firmly believe that each couple should really and truly have a very frank, open discussion talking about what are our boundaries, what is okay for us. It's not anybody's job to tell you, this is your boundary and you should not do this. You have to be true to yourself. You have to kind of know what your boundaries are and operate within that. And I don't want to say what you can manage without crossing a boundary. I'm going to say what you can manage without even starting to tempt. Because you see, once you start for tempt, kind of hard to pull back. So if if you even touch your shoulder, don't touch my shoulder. Don't touch my shoulder. But sit down and have the very frank discussion. So Marcus and I sat down and we knew that we could not kiss and like not do anything. So it was just like, what? Look like kissing off the table still, which was hard. But it was just kind of like we're doing what we need to do. Nobody can tell you what's a trigger. Oh my gosh, triggers are so important. He knew that if he saw me drinking red wine, he was just like, yeah, okay. Just like maintain the boundary, you know, like let's have Jesus in between us. He also knew that if I was like tired, like if I'd had a long day and I was tired, I was not allowed to stay past a certain time. Just because once I started getting tired and I'd get very needy and want to hug, no, get up, go home, bye, later. At one point, we would set boundaries and be like, okay, you know what? When I am at his house, his mom has to be home. Something simple like that. If his mom was not home, as soon as the sun set, I was going home. Simple things. And if we were at his home or if he was at my home, it was never in a closed environment. The door was always open. It's kind of just like you have to like set these things in place ahead of time. And that means you have to be having a frank discussion to say, you know what, let's set down some ground rules ahead of time. So you have to set the boundaries and stick to them. You have to commit to them and kind of be like, you know what, this is what we're putting in place. We know why we're doing this, end goal, and then stick to it. And in sticking to it, you have to have somebody holding you accountable outside of your relationship. So I had a friend who called herself my vagina police. Legit, that's what she called herself. So she knew that she was allowed to call at any time whatsoever. It didn't matter if she got woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning by God to call Paige. She would call me and be like, where are you? Are you home? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? She could call at any point in time, and the rule was I had to pick up. Having somebody hold you accountable is one of the most important parts of maintaining boundaries, right? And the thing is that having that person be somebody who is very honest, somebody who loves you both and who you know really and truly has your best interest at heart, but also somebody who can hold confidence if you mess up. Because you want to know that if you mess up, they're not going to be like, you say Paige, and telling so. You get what I'm saying? So you want to be able to have somebody who you know isn't scared to say to you, I'm concerned about what you're doing, but also somebody who is compassionate enough to walk the journey with you. So alright, you have set some boundaries in place, you set some clear rules, you guys have committed to it, you have chosen your accountability partners, you have sat down and talked to them about how you want them to walk this journey with you. Now what? The first thing is you guys have to talk about it. And when I say talk about it, I mean if you feel like something is missing, you have to be able to openly say it and say, you know, I really and truly miss feeling XYZ or feeling this way. I had a follower who said to me, you know, I'm really struggling because it's like you put in so many boundaries that now it's just kind of like you feel like you're just friends, and it's just like you miss the spark, you miss the romance, you miss just that feeling. There's nothing wrong with feeling romantic towards your person while you are in a courtship. And I think sometimes it's very easy that when we're trying to protect our purity, it's very easy to get caught up in that and forget that you are still in the process of learning to love this person, that you are still in the process of learning about them, and it should be an exciting and beautiful time. And it's very easy to get caught up in the do's and don'ts and miss that time, and you never get it back, right? You never get back that period of courtship, you never get back that period of engagement. So it's very important to enjoy it. What your guy or what your man is trying to do is protect your purity. No, for guys, they are very sexual beings, they're very visual, and you'll learn this whenever you get married, that men can flip like a switch, meaning that it does not take much to get a guy ready and in the mood. And so the thing is, for them, it's much easier for them to say it's nothing, because if it's not nothing, then it's going to be all. And so because of that, you find that men tend to be, especially if they're trying to protect you, they're going to be on the extreme side, right? And the thing is for you to kind of verbalize what you need. If something is lacking, say so. Ladies, guys are not mind readers. And it's not sufficient to say to him, I just need to be more affectionate. That's not enough. You have to give something practical in place. You have to actually state something that is an in-between that you think will be good. And then you guys commit to seeing if it works. And if it doesn't work, you revisit. You figure it out. Is holding hands okay? Yes, holding hands is okay. Great. How about putting your arm around me? It depends on where we are, because if we're at home on the couch watching a movie, just the two of us, boy, you know, the arm around you could drift down, then we get some boob action, then you know it's that's it, you know, because once the hands start drifting down, you feel a little tingly, oops, there we go. So it's kind of just like you have to provide practical things. Okay, so not on the couch. What about if we are with friends on a date in public? Can you put your arm around me? Yes. Awesome. Great job. And the thing is, it's important for him to learn how to touch you and show affection in a non-sexual way. The reason I say this is because when you get married, life is gonna happen, and there's gonna come a period in your marriage where you guys may not be like hot for each other all the time. I know, right? Can you believe that? After waiting all the time, when will you not be hot for each other? Life happens. You're tired, you have a stressful day at work, and you're going to need him to know how to touch you in an affectionate way that's non-sexual, right? Because the thing is, women, we need the emotional side of it in order to feel sexual, right? And so if that side is not being fulfilled, it's very hard for us to transition into feeling sexual and wanting to be intimate. So it's an important skill for him to learn from your courting, how to show you affection in a non-sexual way. That is key to a marriage. It's not just about sex. Like, that's actually needed in a marriage. It's not every time in a marriage that you guys hugging that it needs to be sexual. Sometimes it just needs to be, I just want you to hold you, and that's it. No other motivation. So I personally believe that practicing this from courtship is really good for your marriage. It's setting you up for success, because the sex part is gonna come, but how do you navigate doing life together and really and truly learning about each other and showing love and care without it being sexual, right? You have to be able to lay that foundation. And so what better time to practice than in courtship? We have to temper our expectations. This guy is trying to do right by you, and that in and of itself is a beautiful thing. Can it get frustrating? Of course, because we as women, we want to feel love, right? We don't just want to feel protected, we want to feel love and affection. Guys, I'm gonna encourage you, go out of your way to learn how to show her affection without it being sexual, because it's very good practice for when you guys get married. You're gonna need it, trust me, because if you want to get her ready and raring to go all the time in bed, you best believe you're going to have to deal with that emotional side of catering to her before. So to wrap up this very all over the place video, get yourself some boundaries put in place. If you want, you can write them down. Get yourself some accountability partners, persons who aren't afraid to call you out, who aren't afraid to say, hey, what you doing? Get somebody like that who is willing to come on the date with you, sit down and be a chaperone. Get you some friends like that. And then lastly, I really truly encourage you guys to be as open as possible with each other during the courtship. Make sure that you're verbalizing what it is you need. You're not expecting the person to just read your mind, and make sure that you're communicating openly and honestly about what you need to feel fulfilled, and that you are willing to do what they need as well. Compromise is key. Find your happy middle ground, and I guarantee you, you're going to get some amazing practice for your marriage. I hope you guys liked this video. I am hoping that you know it wasn't too all over the place. I know it took me a minute to like figure out what I was saying, but I know where my heart was on this, and I'm really and truly praying that it will reach somebody. If you know somebody who you think would like it, please share it with them and let them know that, yo, this girl kind of does some cool content still. You can follow me, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos and for just being with me as I continue being naturally Paige. And I'll see you guys next time.